he was presented with a vision in which, again, he was told by Allah that he must conform and relay the truth of these plots and potential cells, terrorist cells in the United States, and those contacts. Now, of course, what immediately comes to mind is the concept of Project Bluebeam. People think it's just simply projecting images. I mean, I know enough about Bluebeam that if I were to go outside and I saw 30 UFOs hovering, and maybe even firing their little laser weapons at one another, and they're landing and whatever, I am not going to believe that. Because Werner von Braun, a brilliant German scientist who, among others of Operation Paperclip, were granted immunity from war crimes to come and help us develop our National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Among other things, there were doctors who were allowed to continue some of their horrible experiments. When you get bored, research a place called Indian Lake. In fact, type in Indian Lake and Clyde Lewis, because he did a very good show on what Indian Lake was and how it was discovered. I was on that show, as a matter of fact. I mean, sure, I'm just a call-in, but I seem to have a magic token that allows me to get through multiple times a week if I want, whereas others have spent years trying to get one call into George Norrie or Clyde Lewis. But anyway, oh yes, it sounds like I'm blowing my own horn there. Well, I do have a horn to blow, and again, when I do, the people who can give me what I want would be grateful that I chose not to blow the horn rather than, well, release things. It's not something as simple as Roswell or this manipulation or Project Bluebeam or Paperclip or High Jump or any of the other things you want to look up. It does not exist, what I have. But I can tell you that what I would be doing, and I may be saying a bit much here, has been a part of many prophecies. Some will see it as bad, some will see it as good. But once that box is open, there is no turning back, and these will become the salad days, my friends. But again, Forced Confessions through Mind Control. It was brought to light, the whole thing, MK Ultra. See how I'm jumping back there? It was brought to light to the general public by the Church Committee of the U.S. Congress and a Gerald Ford Commission to investigate CIA activities within the United States. Investigative efforts were hampered by the fact that then CIA Director Richard Helms ordered all MK Ultra files destroyed in 1973. The Church Commission and Rockefeller Commission investigations relied on the sworn testimony of direct participants and on the relatively small number of documents that survived Helms' destruction order. Yes, why does that name Rockefeller keep popping up in practically every situation where deceit and manipulation are involved? Knowing now that these documents exist, the declassified documents surrounding MK Ultra, as well as other nefarious projects. They're there for the perusing by you. The non-specific concept of madness has been around, and I'm talking about schizophrenia here. I want you to be able to discern. Sometimes when you have these people who say they were told to do something, and they're labeled as schizophrenic. Back in the day, it was demonic, and people said, oh, they need an exorcism. Well, and then we go, oh, there's mental illness. That's what it was. They were just schizophrenic. Poor fools. They had to endure, days-long exorcisms when all they were mentally ill. But what if the wool were being pulled over your eyes? That you accepted the logic of a mental illness rather than the possible demonic possession or alien intervention or government intervention, in which these people who go out and just start murdering people, like what was it, just yesterday, 5 people dead at an airport in Florida. A friend of mine, Anonymous, love her heart, sent me a link entitled MK Ultra and Mass Shootings. Now we're going to talk about, we're not going to talk about it, but what comes to light here, Sandy Hook. That Holmes kid and the theater shootings. The ties that there are possible government interventions. I mean, they set up stings all the time. There are people arrested in stings in which they think they are working with ISIS. Just a couple of months ago, they arrested a guy he was a cop, in fact, who bought over $200 worth of gift cards, and he was relaying the gift card numbers to someone who was of ISIS, and he actually went a couple times to the Middle East, believing that he was working with ISIS, and it was our own government the entire time that was setting him up. Now that's the cover story. Your media tells you what to think. You agree. They form your opinion of it, as it so happens, countries with which we go to war around a year or so in advance, at least. And then by the time they keep showing you what, is being done over there, we go, oh my gosh, we got to get involved. And then over half the country agrees and says to the government, hey, you got to do something. And the government says, well, okay, if that's what you want. When the media that gave you that information, all media, can be funneled back to 6 major corporations. 6 corporations that own practically every news source from which you get your information. And it so happens these corporations are in business to make money. Well, that's why they go into business, right? What better way to get your government to do what you want them to do by sharing only the news they want you to see. The news. But we're going to talk about schizophrenia real quick. Non-specific concept of madness. It's been around for many thousands of years. And schizophrenia was only classified as a distinct mental disorder by Emil, and I'm going to take a guess at this, Kraepelin, Kraepelin. It's funny, when I looked it up, I didn't get the little pronunciation guide, but Google's been acting a little weird for me lately. In 1887, this is when the concept of schizophrenia evolves. He was the first to make a distinction in the psychotic disorders between what he called dementia praecox. Is that right? Oh my God. Well, here it's what, 4 a.m. and I'm talking about schizophrenia. And I'm losing my ability, my vocabulary is shutting down on me. But what that is, Praecox, is a premature dementia, or precocious madness, as it's described, a chronic deteriorating psychotic disorder characterized by rapid cognitive disintegration, usually beginning in the late teens or early adulthood, and manic depression. Well, that's just crazy. No pun intended there, but what is crazy? I mean, we have no freaking idea what really goes on in the minds of people who go to commit these mass shootings. In the minds of the people who go to murder someone in their family. And when they say, the devil made me do it, the government made me do it, how do we know when there's black and white proof sitting right in front of you? It's on the net, it's in the Library of Congress, it's in the book downtown, that these programs absolutely did exist. Using LSD on their own soldiers. That footage exists on YouTube. How can we discern whether someone has lost their mind, become schizophrenic, or always was schizophrenic? There's no way to know. All we know is what the news tells us. So anyway, some of these people, why are you so loud? Some of these people who were connected to the MK Ultra, Robert Hunter, lyricist, longtime collaborator with the Grateful Dead's Jerry Garcia. Go check out a section of NPR.org entitled Found in the Archives, Military LSD Testing. It's a real deal, folks, and today we are spending our hard-earned pieces of parchment and metal to buy what the corner retailers are just shy of marketing as digital LSD. This is not the last, by any means, of a series on MK Ultra and government mind control. I'm just saying, the next time you come across a news story like the one I mentioned, consider, yes, that a degree of schizophrenia might exist, but also consider that there's a direct black and white evidence of programs allegedly ceased in 73, and the possibility that while awake or asleep, your mental state is being manipulated by a barrage of electromagnetic frequencies designed to make you become a better consumer, or quite possibly a better assassin. But something else, I'd love to hear your comments, thoughts, whatever you'd like to say, or contribute. All my contact information's there. My friends, we are all pillars, and when we stand together, our mutual goals can be met. It takes a council, or galactic federation, if you will, to meet the agenda, to germinate the seed of change against the state. So go to the page, Socratic Method, and read a post, or post something. Hard to believe I have nearly 700 plays and have yet to either inspire someone or piss someone off. I remain your humble host, St. Carell. You've been listening. Go check out Cloud Atlas, excellent movie. And as Bill and Ted say, please be excellent to each other. Good fucking night.